Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to General's first lunch hour webinar for 2026. We are excited to be back. I'm Karen, and I'm so happy you've chosen to spend your lunch hour with us today. Wherever you are joining us, please take a moment to pause, breathe, and invest in your well-being. Each month in this series, we will be exploring different aspects of well-being, because well-being is not a one-size-fits-all. It's a personal, it's involving, and it's something we build one small step at a time. Today's session is all about family well-being, strengthening families, and where do we start? And I'm truly excited about this conversation. It's an absolute pleasure for me to introduce our guest speaker for today, Fouche. So Susan is a social worker that is in private practice, and her field of specialization is families and children with behavioral issues. What I especially appreciate about Susan is, I know her personally well to my heart, is her love for children. Today, Susan will be focusing on two fundamental questions on strengthening families. One, where do we start? And secondly, why do we need to strengthen families? So whether you're here to learn something new, find practical tools, or simply reflect, you're in the right place. With no further ado, Susan, thank you for being here with us today. The floor is yours. We are ready to learn from you.
Thank you so much, Karen. It's wonderful to be here, and I'm excited. It seems like no, it's gone. It was the sound was reflecting, but I think it's now sorted out. Thanks. Thank you, Karen, for your trouble. And yes, I'm looking forward to sharing with you. Can I share my screen now?
Yes, you're more than welcome to.
That's right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much. I always have to ask because I always get confused with technology. Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to have you here today. And yeah, I'm just going to share really, sorry, I'm going to share really practical things. Yeah, and from there we go forward, and we start small steps at a time. So I am talking about two articles that I wrote. I summarized, well, for a 20-minute speech, it's really summarized. So there's two articles. I have uploaded the first article already on the GenWell website. So you are more than welcome to go to the GenWell website. You just Google GenWell and then it comes up. And then you go to articles. This will also give you a little broader perspective from, as part of what I'm sharing today. So the previous discussion in terms of strengthening families, we spoke about positive self-talk, family dinners, and my time. So today's discussion is going to center around understanding brain development and how to have a healthy brain. So this is really practical, and there are many reasons why we need to do this. So I really take small steps in going forward with this topic. So why do we need to strengthen families? Now, this is a question that is very difficult to answer in a short time. That's why I encourage you to go and read the articles. So when I did this research for this talk, I found a resource that says by adolescents, a significant proportion of South African children have already been exposed to multiple forms of victimization. High levels of violence experienced by young people aged 15 to 17 include exposure to family violence, theft, robbery, bullying, threats, and physical attacks, often occurring within spaces that should provide safety and care. So that is often in their own homes. The consequences of such early and repeated exposure to violence are severe and long-lasting, and I think that's what I want to focus on today, is that the consequences, we think that children are resilient and that they will, that especially if they are young, then we tend to think they are not going to remember it, but it's long-lasting. Children who experience abuse or chronic victimization are more likely to engage in risky sexual behavior and substance misuse, and to develop mental and physical health problems. So, and this has become really a major topic in the field where I work, and it's really becoming a problem in many fields. So, what is causing this crisis? So, as I did a little bit research about the topic, I just thought of a few things that is contributing to this crisis of young people experiencing violence and threats and things that they shouldn't be exposed to. Evidence suggests that the answer lies in rising levels of child and youth distress, alongside weakening family environments, and this is shaped by broader social, economic, and cultural forces. Now, as you can see, this was already set in 2003 in America, and I believe that in terms of children's behavior and mental health problems, we are now at the stage where America was in 2003 already. So the 7 reasons or the 7 things that I could have that I came up with, maybe there's probably more, but this is the ones that I touch on in the article, is rising mental and behavioral health challenges. And this is all those topics is in terms of children. Socioeconomic stressors, adverse childhood experiences, declining quality of parent-child interactions, family fragmentation, parenting knowledge and skills gaps, and lack of social support and community connections. And there's many reasons for all of these things, but that is the situation that we are facing today. So where do we start? I come from a perspective of how can we strengthen the family, and where do we start if we want to do that? So it's extremely important to understand brain development. Otherwise, this is going to feel like, this is just a small thing. We don't have to pay attention to this. But understanding a child's brain development is extremely important if you want to go forward in strengthening families. So when we have to understand brain development, there's 2 critical periods that a child experiences during their lifetime in terms of the development of the brain. So the first period is from birth up to 7 years. This is a critical wiring period because 40% of our neurons are wired or connected at birth. And then from there onward, the other 60 are through learning and experiences. The 60% is then wired in that time. So these experiences can either be negative or positive. And then brain development from the age of 12 to 25 years is another critical wiring period. And this means that teens can direct the development of their own brains because our brains are plastic. It's moldable. We can learn and we can grow and we can enhance our brains, or we can neglect them. So important connections are being made that link brain areas together, helping us become smarter and make better decisions. Alcohol suppresses brain activity, as an example, harming the brain's development. So therefore, it's essential to protect your brain from alcohol and drugs during this critical wiring period, especially. So where do we start? What can we do? So it's extremely important. And I think even myself, we get so busy and we are in such a rat race to provide for our families and to get through the day and to get through all the routine things and all the chores that need to be done, that we often neglect ourselves. And that is actually the place to start. We need to look after our brains, and it's extremely important. If your brain is not functioning, then you can't function. If you can't function, your family is not going to function like it should. So the first one is protect your brain. Protect your brain from alcohol, drugs, nicotine, and caffeine. Protect your brain from falls, injuries, and big bumps. Eat healthy brain food. Increase your fruit and vegetable intake. I think we all can do with that because, it's just so quick. Let's make some meat and pasta tonight because it's quicker than anything else. Dark green vegetables such as broccoli and spinach. And it's to make it easier, experiment with a new ingredient every week. I once read a book in which they suggested every time you go for shopping, you try to buy a fruit or a vegetable that you haven't tried before. So drink lots of water, eat nuts and legumes, avoid junk food, sugars and starches. And I think we all know this, but often in the rat race, we tend to neglect this. And then sleep. I think in my experience, most people don't realize how much sleep they actually need, especially for the children. I was talking to a friend the other day, and we spoke about the number of hours that a child needs some sleep. And she was very surprised when I said, but teenagers need to sleep longer than 8 hours a night. So the table that I've got up here is a comparison between the sleep needs that Nancy Thomas promotes, the National Sleep Foundation in the USA, and the LAM. LAM is a researcher that also does research on sleep. And it's interesting to note that school-going children is supposed to get significant more sleep than we tend to think. And also, it also has much to do with the change in society, because kids are nowadays so busy that you have to stretch the day a little bit longer in order to get through all the activities. So another thing that I think we don't realize is that we need to exercise at least 5 times per week. And now I'm really preaching to myself, because exercise contributes to the structural and functioning of your brain. It works against depression, anxiety, bipolarity. Many of these are mental health issues. And cognitively, when children exercise regularly, it has a positive correlation with school performance. And this was all done in research studies. Physical activity, I read one article where they said physical activity can heal brain loss, which occurred during brain development. So when you were a baby and when you were smaller. So that is quite significant. And then your brain functions, everything your body does is part of the brain functioning. And your hand movements and your speech are interconnected. And with increased exercise, the interconnection improves. And then the part of the brain that is connected to speech also has a cognitive connection. So all these things work together. From 0 to 2 years, the primary motor connections is responsible for posture and coordination. And from 0 to 2 years is the stage when that develops. From 0 to 5 years is the foundation time frame for the development of motor connections for control. So it's important to understand that physical activity determines early brain development and motor skills development. And fine motor skills keep on developing from birth up to the age of 9 years. So we spoke about positive talk the previous time. This is part 2 of strengthening families. So here again, we say, de-stress your brain and think positive thoughts. When you feel stressed throughout the day, take a moment to breathe slowly in and out. This is such a small thing that you can do, and it's easy while you are at work. Maybe you're in the bathroom, maybe you're in your office. Nobody will even notice that you take 1 or 2 minutes to just slowly breathe in and out. And the reason why it works is it gives your brain oxygen. And that, again, as soon as your brain gets oxygen, the oxygen flows to the frontal part of the brain, and that's the part where you can make logical decisions. Use mindfulness. So when you feel angry or sad or anxious, write down the negative thoughts and replace them with intentionally more positive thoughts. Avoid too much screen time. Now, immediately we would say that, but this is definitely applicable to the children. But I think it's important that we also, since we work on computers all day, many of us, it's important that we balance this. Because they found in a study that students who spend 10 hours a day online developed less gray matter in the thinking part of the brain compared to those who spend less than 2 hours a day online. Study, read, and learn. As I said, your brain has, they talk about neuroplasticity, and that means that your brain is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Just like when you are exercising in the gym, then your muscles work fine, but if you make them stronger, you can even do more. So we looked at the critical periods in children's brain development, and we also had a little peek view of how to have a healthy brain. And this we can apply to ourselves, and especially we need to start applying it to our children. So, yeah, thank you so much for listening, and you are welcome if anybody has a question.
Thank you, Susan. That was incredibly insightful. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm taking away, how am I going to get my almost teenager to sleep more than 9 to 8 hours a night because of all the homework and stuff going on? So now we are going to take questions from the audience. If you can just raise your virtual hand, and then Susan will answer your question. Remember to unmute yourself, please.
Thank you, Karen.
Susan, it doesn't look like there's any questions for you. I'm going to put in the chat Susanne's contact details if you want to make contact with her. If you do not have a pen and paper to write it down now, you're more than welcome to email me and I will provide you with the contact details for the future. Let me just quickly post that there for you. Just give me a heads up. Can you see the contact details there in the chat? Okay, good. Right. Again, thank you, Susanne, for sharing your wisdom with us. And thank you to everyone that showed up for Your Wellbeing Matters. We will be back next month with a powerful new conversation. And then please check your emails. I will send a new invitation in about 3 weeks' time. And then you're more than welcome to send these invitations to your friends and families and your other connections so that we can help you with your well-being journey. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember, small, consistent steps create a lasting well-being. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Karen. Bye-bye.
Bye.